What's up, guys? I'm going to be doing an updated deck profile on my Fire Kings. I did upload a deck profile when Rekindling came back to 3, and everyone seemed to love it. It's like my most viewed video, and I had a ton of feedback, the vast majority of it positive. So I basically have been toying with the deck around. I took inspiration on this build. It's, in my opinion, a better build of it. I felt like the first version that I built and from the original video, it was a little clunky. Like it bricked more than I would like for it to. It was still very good in my opinion. But this is just, I took inspiration from, there's this Atellar Knight player that topped the regionals just a few weeks ago. Same concept, basically ran maybe like 15, 20 Stellar Knight cards, if I'm not mistaken, and then the rest was just to break boards. I feel like this deck does it better. I feel like Stellar Knights isn't that great going. I feel like it's a going first deck, but I mean, it worked for the guy, so I figured, what's a good deck that's going second, takes the same kind of concept as that deck, and I was like, Fire Kings. Like, obviously, you know, this deck already wants to go second. So why not incorporate all these cards to break boards of the current meta? And I think it's just the perfect deck for that, as far as like old, you know, like rogue decks that can take that formula and just do really well with it. I'm going to go ahead and jump right into it, and I'll kind of go over the cards and what they do for those of you that are new to Fire Kings, if you haven't watched the other deck profile. With that being said, though, we'll start off with the 3 Arvada, which is your Solemn Strike. It's good if you have to go first. You can summon this and then pop a Garunix from your hand and then blow up the field the next turn. But this basically reads, if a monster effect is activated, destroy a fire monster that you control in your hand besides itself. Negate the effect. Doesn't negate and destroy, but it's still really good. Second effect is if it dies at all, by battle or card effect, essentially. It special summons a fire beast, wing beast, or beast warrior from the graveyard. So you have like kind of like how BA has this Cern Dante loop. This is kind of like your loop is if they run over the Garunix, which when it dies by battle specials a Fire King from the deck. You special this, and then this can float into one of the smaller ones. So basically you just kind of stop a big battle phase if you have to, which, I mean, this is a mandatory 3 of. It's the newest one that we got, I think like a year or two ago. 3 Barong, which is your searcher. It reads, if it's destroyed by card effect on the next standby, it searches any Fire King card, so it can search out the spells or monsters. And it's not once per turn, so if you can destroy multiple of them, then you're getting, you know, you can go plus, essentially. The other effect is if a Fire King is destroyed outside of the damage step, it special summons itself from hand. That's also not once per turn, so same thing with the Yaksha. They just kind of spam the board when you pop something with Fire King Island, and you can just kind of dump a bunch of attack onto the board. That's kind of the idea behind this build, is breaking the board and then killing your opponent in one turn, ideally. If not, then sitting on the Arvada to stall off another turn, and then kill them if you have to. This reads, if it dies at all, pop a card on your side of the field or in your hand. So it just synergizes with the Garunix, which loops itself. This basically makes it so that you can loop this easier. And you can play 2 of these or 1. I mean, that's preference. I think with this build, I just want to maximize on all the Fire Kings, just play 3 of each of the good ones. And the Garunix is, if it's destroyed, it comes back on the next standby and destroys all monsters besides itself. So it's just a constant dark hole. And then if it dies by battle, it floats into one of the smaller ones, as I mentioned just a bit ago. But this is really good. It's a mandatory, so if it dies, it's going to come back. One will come back, and then if you had 2 popped, then the other one comes back. And then they just loop each other. It just makes it to your opponent. So where your opponent doesn't have a board. And then that's it for the Fire Kings. It's 12 of them, the best ones. I don't like the other ones personally, but then you play 3 Prank. I think this card is great for a deck like this. So my idea behind the breaking the board cards that I play is playing cards that you don't mind drawing as your 6th card. I don't play any hand traps because I hate the idea of this deck is for going second, and then you draw a 6th card, and it's an Ash or a Veiler or a Ghost Ogre, and it's just kind of like, so what do I do with this? I have to wait a whole turn? No, I want to kill you now. So I'll let you set up your board, and then I'll break it. So basically, every card that I play for going second is a card that you do not mind being your 6th card, which helps make the breaking and the breaking the board a lot more consistent. So Prank is just a really good card to apply pressure. This outs so many things, and I think you absolutely should play 3. That's it for monsters. I don't play the other ones that I was in the previous video. It's very straightforward, but you play 3 tankies to get you to your Fire Kings. Yeah, I mean, I don't have to explain that card. Fire King Island, if your opponent controls no monsters, or if your opponent controls a monster and you don't, special fire, Wing Beast or Beast Warrior. Effects are negated and dies at the end phase, that's fine. You're going to bring out your Garunix 99% of the time. And yeah, that's usually your opponent won't summon just one monster, so you can go this, and then they still, if they have 2 monsters, then you just special the Prank after you bring out the Garunix, just to apply even more pressure. But yeah, so it should not like conflict with one another. And then you play 3 Fire King Islands. I don't like playing 3 and then the Terraforming in this build. I think this is really good because with the other builds, you rely on this like as the main card to get you going, and with this build, you don't absolutely need it. Plus, you can search it with Barong if you absolutely have to. So I think this is perfect. And then that's it for Fire King cards. I'm not playing Circle in this deck. That's more if you're going to try and grind out the games. And with this one, as I said, I just want to break the board, take control as fast as possible. So I'm aiming 3 Super Polys, the best decks right now. Thunder Dragon, Pendulum Magicians. Let's see. I mean, really, this card is just really good against everything, in my opinion. And I think you should play 3 of, or like main 3 in the deck, because you can just clear a board and then like just keep going from there. So basically you onslaught the Fire Kings first, especially your Prank, and then use this, so you have 3 monsters and you've basically wiped your opponent's board. That's it for that. Let's see here. And then you play 3 instant fusions. This is also for spot removal. I think it's really good. You can summon the Thousand Eyes Restrict and then use Fire King Island Pop and then search. Kind of like just spot removal, really. That's all it's for. We'll get into that a little bit more. And then you play 2 Mind Control. You can play 3. There's one. This is a 40 card deck. Very straightforward. But there's one card that's kind of your 40th card, which you can play. We'll cover options, but I think 2 of these is really good. Again, you can just steal your opponent's monster and then pop it with Fire King Island and then search your Fire King. Or link it away and then kill your opponent, make like a Boral Sword or something. I think 2 is good though. Also, I cut down the Rekindling down to 2, and you can play 3 if you'd like. This is another card that I absolutely love. And reading a lot of the comments on the last video and just play testing and everything, I think 2's fine. I don't think you absolutely require 3, although it is nice. There's times when you open up 2 and it can just be a little awkward. So you want to play, don't play 1, because if you play the next card, you might banish them. But 2 or 3 ideally. I don't play Pot of Extravagance in this build because you do rely on the extra deck to break boards. So I'd rather play Desires. I mean, you basically play 3 of all your important cards, and yeah, you're not gonna banish. I mean, if you do, oh well, but you won't banish 3 of. Usually, you won't banish 3 of your breaking board cards, so that's good. The 40th card. Well, these are the final cards that you must play, in my opinion. And this is same as last video. I mean, it's evenly matched. Like, you just win games off of this all the time. But the 40th card is Monster Reborn, and this could be absolutely anything. You can play this. You can play a Foolish Burial to fuel your Rekindling. You can play a Wolf Bark. You can play a double or nothing, which I think is a really good option. I feel like I draw that card like 75% of my hands, and I just hate it. Um, but it's a free win, and that's the idea of this deck, is just get cheesy wins, break a board, and then 8,000 damage directly. But yeah, I would encourage playing double or nothing. It's just kind of like right now I'm just feeling the deck out, and I think the other 39 cards are perfect in my opinion. Basically, it makes it to where, if you know, like I basically said, I'm sure most of you know what drawing your 6 card and making sure it's not dead. Like the idea behind that is, like if I draw an evenly matched or a mind control or an instant fusion or a super poly, I don't care if that's my 6 card. That's perfect. It's not like I'm drawing an Ash or main decking in a Biru and then I top deck that. Like that's kind of not great. But yeah, this is the 40th card right now, and it can fluctuate to your personal preference. It could be the 3rd Rekindling, the 3rd Mind Control. It doesn't matter. Into the extra deck, though, you play the 1 spot removal, which is your Thousand Eyes Restrict. You can play the Invoked Raijikin. I'm probably mispronouncing that. The one that's a Book of Moon. That's an option. I did order one just to kind of feel out the deck and see if it can fit in the extra deck. Right now it's at 15. So there isn't really there isn't like anything that I can think of to take out, but I just would rather have it and then feel it out and see if, you know, what it's good against and if it can make its way into the extra deck. But this is perfect. Spot removal. And then you play a lot of targets for Super Poly. You actually play 5, but the first 3, so this is absolutely needed. The Starving Venom. This will break just about any meta deck. What are they called? Orchist, Thunder Dragon, Pendulum Magician. This is 2 Cyberse monsters is what this requires. So this is good against like Salamangreat if you don't have they don't have a board set up to where you can make the Violet Chimera. And then this is also an option for Thunder Dragons. It's a fusion monster and 1 dark monster. So that, or I mean, Shadalls are getting a structure deck. Eventually we'll get it. If most of you have been keeping up, so that's really good. And then just the Med Clap Dragon, which is good, covers basically any hole that these first 4 can't cover. And that's it. You play 5. You can play more. I did a lot of research, and those are really the only good 5, to be honest. For boss monsters, you have your 2 Borreload and Boral Sword, just for easy kills. Take their monster with the mind control and then kill them. For removal, you play the 2 Nightmares, self-explanatory. And then you do play one of these because it can come up to where you want to link off your Fire Kings that you brought back with Rekindling so that they don't get banished. And then if this dies, it just adds 1 back. So it's good utility. I don't think you need more than 1. There is 1 card I'm missing, which is the 15th, and that's the Link Karibo. I swear I have like a playset somewhere, but I have a big old mess with all my cards, and I couldn't find them. They're somewhere though, but basically you take a card with Thousand Eyes Restrict, and then you link this off into Link Karibo, and then it opens up the Link Karibo will open up it points down, so it opens up that zone for an extra deck monster, which is when you would go into your Super Poly play. You play 3 XYZs, which I think are the best for the deck. If most of you didn't notice, I don't play any back row removal in the main deck. I think you can play through it. Realistically, the only meta floodgates that are being played right now are, there can be only 1, and you can summon a Garunix, one of the small Fire Kings, so those are Beast Warriors. You can Super Poly your target, which is, there's a variety of them. Prankertops is a dinosaur. Like, that card doesn't hurt you. Like, you don't need to worry about floodgates, but you do play the 1 Tornado Dragon just in case. I mean, it's there. I can't really even think of any back row that hurts you. Maybe like the Solemn Strike if they're striking the Grunix out of the grave. But it's just there as an option, and I think you should play it. You don't want to completely lock yourself out of a weird situation where you do need to clear a back row. Abyss Dweller, for if you're playing against Salamangreat and can't kill him, just make this, and then they cry because they won't be able to play on the next turn. They're basically locked out of the graveyard. And Abyss Dweller is just the best ring 4 ever made, in my opinion. The longevity that this card has sustained is just insane, and this should be an ulti and an OTS someday. sooner than later, I believe. And then you do play your one Tiger King. Same concept as this guy. Basically, it's just to make it so if you don't want your Fire Kings to be banished off of your Kindling. That's it for the extra deck, 15 with the Link Karibo that's missing. Other than that, though, for the sideboard, I didn't make one because I feel like that's completely depends on the meta, preference, so on and so forth. But I think the staples should be your triple Twin Twister, the triple Galaxy Cyclone, which I have in the sideboard for the pendulums that I said I've been playing. You can play... I mean, you can put the hand traps in the sideboard depending on like what you're playing against. I have them set here just in case, like, you know, you guys wanted ideas. And then even like triple Dark Hole, triple Torrential for if you're made to go first. Or you can put the double or nothing, and then you can do like a double or nothing package in your sideboard. Like if you know you're playing against something that's going to summon something real small and not back it up by much, like a rogue matchup, or just really like double or nothing, Utopia, double. That's another good option, but that's really it. For it, I guess more or less the sideboard would be for back row removals, just in case you have like a paleo matchup, I guess. They're on my locals, but I'm not really too worried about the deck. Other than that, I mean, let me know what you guys think. I think it's a lot better now. In my opinion, it's very straightforward. I'll see if I can find the Satellar Knight deck profile and link it in the description, more or less like a reference of how I got the idea for this deck. And I do have a regionals December 14th, if I'm not mistaken. I might be wrong on that date. It's in December, though. It's going to be Seattle. And I'll probably play Pendulum Magician. But this is just... Maybe last second I changed my mind and I just want to play something for fun. But Pendulum Magician... I might do another deck profile. That was my last one. And, I mean, the deck's just kind of everywhere, so I'm sure you guys can find deck profiles anywhere for him. I did take him to locals yesterday, was local Saturday, and I went 4-0, so I feel really comfortable with the deck, just play testing a lot. Other than that, though, let me know your feedback on this deck. Let me know what you like, what you hate. Any feedback is appreciated. And hopefully this deck profile can get back to, like, kind of meet the same numbers as the other profile for Fire Kings. That was awesome. Didn't expect all that love for this deck. Like I've said personally, this is one of my absolute favorite decks. And I've had this core for like 4 years and just like, I'll never get rid of it because I love the deck. I just feel like it's so flexible with options that you can play with it. You can build like going first builds, but I just like this just in case you lose a die roll, you're not kind of like stuck trying to like grind your way back into the game because you'd be so far behind because it is an old archetype that's fairly slow, I guess you could say. But other than that, thank you guys for watching.